Hey guys, Sean Lentz here from Appalachian DIY, and what we're going to be going over today is how we installed this electrical panel. Now that's not just it, we're going to also go over how we routed the conduit from the meter socket on the outside into here, and how we did all of the measuring and all of that stuff with that. We're also going to go over the meter socket on the outside of the garage, how we attached it to our paneling, how we routed it to the inside, all of the special stuff that we did to waterproof it and make it really nice and easy for when we side it. So there's a ton of information of how we got our electrical panel in, and also how we got the meter socket on the outside, how we measured all of that stuff and made our measurements so everything lined up and got it all squared away. So ton of information. It's going to be a little bit longer of a video, so buckle up guys and enjoy. Okay, so the very first thing we need to do is we need to find out where we need to put our panel. So we have our panel right here. This is a 30 space 200 amp panel. Now the nice thing about these is they can be put up either what I consider upside down, which is the main breaker on the bottom, or right side up, the breaker on the top. The way it's best going to work for us is we're going to put this actually, in my opinion, upside down. So we're going to put this thing right in here. Now if you notice, we do have some blocking out here that'll come into play with our socket on the outside. So we'll put this in place and I'll tell you about why we're putting it where we're putting it. So on the outside, we're going to have a underground service going into a side bus meter, and then we're going to come out of that meter down to an LB and then in to our box. So where we're coming in at is this hole right here in the center, or center-ish, it's not actually centered, into our panel. So what that does is it allows us to come directly into our panel from extension outside. We don't have to come in here with any kind of plumbing or a conduit and come up from the bottom. So we come directly into our box, we split off with our service feeders and right into our panel. You can have this where the breaker is on top. I don't care for that. Now you're coming up here with 2 3/0 lines up to the top, and I think it makes it look really junky. So that's why we're flipping it and putting it into the bottom. It'll be super nice and clean. So the way we did our height for this is on the outside, we measured up to where our socket is, which is 60 inches to the center hole of the meter socket. So I'm gonna try and juggle this around a little bit for you guys right here, but this is our side bus meter. So the way this works is that it looks like this. It's gonna be on the outside. We come up with our 3-inch on this side into our lugs over here. Then on this side is our meter. We need to have this at 60 inches per my code for my township from the ground level. So then when we get our meter in here, we'll attach to these lugs here and then come out this far side. So I'll try and hold this up here so you guys can kind of see this. So I believe our measurements were the top of the socket is right here. This is where our socket's going to go. So I'll hold this in the wall. Now this is going to be behind this, but our socket comes down, plus this. Remember, this is going to be in here, but we need to glue a piece in between these two, right? So this is just theoretically our play that we would have. So we come under here with that. So as you can see right here, this is the bottom of our hole that we're going to need to come in through the wall with, and we're pretty even right here. So that's kind of how we calculated this out. We found our ground level. We have a little bit of ledge on the outside where we were able to measure up for 60 inches. So we measured up 60 inches. Right here's our mark for that, for where the meter's at. We literally placed our meter in here, had our connection that we're gonna have into the box with a little play of conduit, our LB, and we're coming straight into the wall, into this center. Right here's our mark for where that center needs to be. So we can literally take this out, drill straight through, mount this on the outside, and everything should line up pretty well. As we go through this electrical series, I will be posting code below for NEC code on why we have things the way we have it. There is no minimum height for a panel. For me, this is a little low. However, it kind of governs off of the way we have our stuff set up. We could come directly from our socket. Right here, there's a hole here. We could go directly into the back from here. However, with our socket right here, that would put the bottom of my panel right up here, which then allows for us to reach for all of our workspace then is like this. You're not doing nothing but this above your head. I think kind of really like that. To reach some of this stuff, maybe you would need like one step of a step ladder to reach it, but that's not really the way I like to work. So we opted to lower it. It's a little low for me. I would like it a little higher, but this is kind of the where we're at with it. I can't raise the socket on the outside because of the code for our township must have that meter at 60 inches. So this is kind of where we decided to be at with it. There is no minimum code, like I said. There is a maximum. The maximum height of a breaker that you can reach can be no taller than 6'7", and I'll list the code for that below. There's, I believe, 2 sections where it kind of goes over that. So whether this is the top or the very top of your breaker, that can only be 6'7". So this is kind of where we're at. It's a little shorter than I would like. It's still off the floor, off of where water is going to be or anything like that if we ever had washed a car in here or something. So it's a little, like I said, it's a little lower, but this is kind of the way I like it. And we're going to be mounting in this position. So we'll take this off the wall, we'll take it over to our bench, and we'll get these knockouts all set. All right, guys, the first thing we need to do is get this knockout out. And what we're going to do is we're just going to set this on here just to tell which one that we're actually going to knock out, because we definitely don't want this hole bigger than we actually need it to be. And it's this second one from the outside. All right, so we can actually take this and flip it. There we go. So now we can work on it a little better. We just want to make sure that we're not going to tear this outer ring out. So just going to tap this down. Tap this side. Now you can take alignment pliers or whatever you got. I prefer these pliers right here. I think they just work better. And all we're gonna do is we're going to try and weaken this weld right here and this one right here. So just get underneath it, like that, and then just work it back and forth. There we go. Okay, so we left the outermost ring intact. And now we just need to fit this down in here. Perfect. We're good to go like that. On the inside, right here, there's these little tabs. There's one there, one at the top, and then one right down here at the bottom. These tabs get knocked from the inside out, and what these are mounting positions for the actual box. All right, so what we're going to be doing now is we're going to actually mount our panel, and we're just going to temporarily mount this in place with drywall screws. When we actually go to put this thing in place, we're going to be using 1/4-inch lags. So, but since this is just to temporarily get this in place, We're just going to use these right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to stand this thing proud 5/8 of an inch. That's going to give us our 5/8 drywall. Since we're in a garage, that's our fireproofing. So we're going to stand this proud of this stud 5/8 of an inch. All right, so right here is where we need to get through to. We're actually going to kind of make it look like that. So you could just stick this on as a template and literally just trace around the back side of this. We're just going to take our 2-inch drill bit and just literally center it up in here and just drill straight through. All right, so we found the center point of our hole. Just gonna make sure that we're lined up. Looks pretty good. That's exactly where we need to be. So now that we have that hole in there, we're actually gonna drill this from the outside. All right, so here is our hole from the outside. No going back after this. There we go. Now the reason we're drilling from the outside, we don't want this all kind of nutsed up. It just drills a lot nicer. So we only needed our pilot hole to come through and then drill from here. So now we're on the outside. Here is our little stub that we have. This is not cut to size yet, but it's gonna get us a rough idea of where we need to be. So we're gonna stick this on here like that, and we're gonna get this leveled up. Right there. Okay. All right, guys, what we have right here is an Arlington meter base. This is going to be where our socket meter sits right onto here. And what this does is it allows our siding to come into here on all 4 sides. There's a groove. And we can butt right up here with our stuff. We don't have to put J-channel out around our meter box. This sits it proud of the wall, and we can fit in here with our siding. So really nice product. It's gonna make it super convenient the next step we do when we do our siding and stuff. So what we do is we have this on here. We're gonna do some flashing and stuff on here. That might be in this video, it might be in the next one. But we're putting this on here with truss head screws. They're as flat as they can get. We're not gonna be using drywall screws on this, just so we can flash seal around this with our zip tape. And get that all nice and neat. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take our meter socket, put our level on here, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this thing lined up, and in the center here, all right, so now what we have, we have 3 dots up here that line up. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take our drill bit and we're gonna drill into here. Now this is going to go through this Arlington meter base, which is 1 1/8 inch, our 1/2 inch siding, and then we have blocking on the inside. Remember that we showed you at the beginning of the video, and that is 1 1/2 inch 2x6s. So we have 3 1/8 inch thickness that we need to go through. So we're gonna use some 3-inch lags in here. So we're gonna just go ahead and drill this through here. Now we can go ahead, and I don't have 3-inch lags on me right now, but we have some that'll get this at least in the position for us. Okay, so there you go. We're not completely fully mounted yet, but we're gonna come back a little later. It's getting pretty dark out. It's Probably come back tomorrow, get this thing with the proper length lags and get them set in here. But I'm pretty happy with this so far. We are all lined up and plumbed up for everything that we need. So probably we'll start tomorrow and start gluing this and getting this thing all flashed out. We do have a quick flash for this that we're going to show you guys then too on how we're going to do that as well. So that's it for today, and we'll start again tomorrow. Okay, so here is our LB. Here is where we're coming down. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this LB. We're going to take our lock nut and then a bushing. Okay, so here is the very next thing. We have a quick flash that we're going to use on our piece that goes through our wall. And it works this simple. You literally just put the pipe right through there and it flashed it that quick. Super nice. I really like this product. We'll take our flashing tape and tape out around this. We'll also put some truss screws on here and hold this thing in place. So we'll go ahead and get this thing glued in to our LB and also have this quick flash on here as well. All right, here we go, guys. We get one shot at this. So we're gonna get this, get the outside of this. Let's put this in there. That. Press, press, push, push, push. Twist it a little bit. Twist. Okay, so there we go. We have our quick flash on. Our thing here, we'll put the nut back on. So we have to take that off to get this thing into place. They do make special wrenches to tighten those things. They need to be tightened down. They cannot move. We'll go ahead and take our truss screws and we'll screw this thing into place. So what we got to mount this quick flash is Tex 1/2" truss screws. These things are great. Now these are the pointed ones, not the self-tappers. These work really great. And we'll just put a couple right on the outside. All right, the very next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be sealing this completely up. We have our zip tape, and what we're going to be doing is flushing that up. Just trying to get it past this edge right here into the inside. Obviously, we can't get the roller in there, so we're going to have to press it in with our fingers as best we can. What we're going to do is we're going to do the sides first, and then the top, and we're going to leave the bottom open. That way, if moisture does get in there, has a way to be able to escape. And then just for the inside here, we're just gonna press it in with our fingers as best we can. Now for the last piece, we're gonna do up top. This one up top is probably your most critical, so make sure that you don't have any ripples or anywhere that it's gonna have some kind of gap on the top, because obviously all the water that's gonna be coming down will be coming down in the back here. All right, so the last thing that we need to do is put on our inside thread adapter that will be able to get our lock nut onto our panel. All right, with this dry, now we can go ahead, mount up our panel. And what we're going to do is just put some temporary screws up top here just to hold this in place. Okay. And now remember guys, if this was on the inside and it wasn't a garage, you'd be doing a 1/2 inch reveal on this. Since we're in a garage, we need the firewall protection, so we're going to use 5/8 as our 5/8 drywall. So we have our temporarily mounted up here. What we're using is 1/4 inch, 1.5 inch lags. That's going to get us through the sides here and fasten this securely into place. Last but not least, do not forget your lock nut. And make sure you guys are tightening these down. And then our last thing is our bushing on top of that. There you go. So obviously guys, we will be tightening this with a wrench. All right, so there you go guys. That is the complete install of our panel, our meter socket on the outside, and how we put it onto the wall and came through and all the connections for this. We are gonna have a part 2 to this. We'll give you a little sneak peek of that right now, and that is putting in our conduit from the pole all the way up here to the garage. Now that is gonna be 3-inch conduit, and there's some special things that we need to do with that as well. So yeah, if you guys wanna see that, we'll put a probably tag up here for you guys to click on for the next video. But that's what we got coming up next. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and head over to Appalachian DIY for more videos. Thanks again, guys, and I hope to see you next time.